If the classes inspire you to take up the Yuga-Dharma, then it was a good class. You understand?
Yeah.
No class practically should go without at least coming to the conclusion that the way to all spiritual and even material success is the congregational chanting of the holy name in this age of Kali. Kali Yuga-Dharma Hari Nama-Sankirtana. Nama-Sankirtana is the way, the truth, and the light. So just like Matsyavatar is the Sanskrit grammar teacher, he used to be on the 24-hour kirtan. But when he was requesting me to allow him to go for studying Sanskrit, my point to him was that if by studying Sanskrit you come to the conclusion of performing Nama-Sankirtana in this age of Kali, then your studying of Sanskrit is fruitful. Because fruitful means the process of getting prema, the fruit of love of Godhead, is Nama-Sankirtan in Kali Yuga. That's the prime methodology in this age. To the extent that we surrender to that, because after all, the truth is that in Kali Yuga, Kali Kale Nam Rup Krishna Avatar, Krishna's Nam Rup is the avatar, and that avatar, Nam Rup avatar, is Pritharanaya Sadhanam Vinashaya Chaduskritam Dharma Samstarpanaya. Dharma means what? It's Kali Yuga Dharma, At least that Dharma, and ultimate Dharma means surrender to Krishna. So those who surrender to the holy name in this age of Kali, for whatever reasons, Artho, Artharthi, Jigasni, Jnani, those who begin to take up the process of Nama-Sankirtan, they are Sukritina, and they can be quickly elevated to the Madhyamadikari platform and get Nam-Ruchi and onward to Asakti Bhav and Prema by the grace of Harinam. And those who find every reason in the world why they really don't have to go out on the Harinam Sankirtan party because they're engaged in various other whatever kind of activities they're engaged in, even in devotional service, institutional responsibilities or whatever, but they don't surrender to the actual process, then with all due respects we have to say that there's some miserly consciousness there. Yova etad akshara garagya vidvasmo lokat praitisa kripana. Kripana is one who is miserly. He doesn't understand the science of self-realization. And because he doesn't surrender to the holy name, seriously performing the Yuga-Dharma Nama-Sankirtan, then there's every likelihood that he'll quit this world like the cats and dogs without actually coming to the proper conclusion and gaining the fruit of the performance of the Yuga-Dharma, namely Krishna Prema. You see my point? So that kind of kripana consciousness, miserly consciousness, that is like, you can say, residues of the namam duskritina mudha prabhatente naradama mayaya prithagyana and all those things, asura bhava. It's not that the mudhas are the other guys necessarily. We're also mudhas to the extent that we don't recognize, too dull-headed to recognize the beauty and the importance of performing the Yuga-Dharma. So we should try to understand seriously our inalienable right and responsibility to perform the Yuga-Dharma for the benefit of the people of this world and for our own benefit. It's very important, whether we do it inside closed doors or whether we go out on the street or inside the temple Like here in Vrindavan, there's many thousands and thousands of people coming to the temple, so it's legitimate to perform Nama-Sankirtan inside. But in many places, especially in the Western world, people just generally don't have much interest in coming to the church or the temple. They've given up their idea of godly life for crass atheism. So we have to do the para upakara of taking the temple to the people. It's absolutely essential, and that was Prabhupada's program. Unfortunately, it's been neglected practically worldwide. In your temple, how many days do you go out on Harinam Sankirtan? A week?
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday. Well, what happens for the other 6 days of the week?
We are doing Buddhist house programs.
Every day, 6 hours Buddhist worship. Every day, Saturday only we are doing evening.
That's okay, but really it should be a daily affair.
Daily we have
Just like I remember when we were, I know you do the morning program, that's also Sankirtan. Nama-Sankirtana. Okay,
Every day.
So my point is that the reason why I'm saying this is because really we're all very sick, and we need to take proper dosage at proper frequency. Without the proper dosage and without proper frequency, then we can hardly expect to actually get well. We need heavier doses because we're actually really very sick. Maybe more sick than we're willing to admit. You see this point? So, at least in the West, Prabhupada's program in the beginning, and he never advocated that book distribution should be to the exclusion of Nama-Sankirtan. Rather, he preferred, and he expressed it in a few letters and conversations, that book distribution and Harinam Sankirtan should go on side by side. Not that one takes precedence over the other. Book distribution is our number one business in the sense that by philosophically convincing people to surrender to the Yuga-Dharma, to come forward and join the Krishna consciousness movement, but when they get here, they should see that the Yuga-Dharma is actually going on in a viable way, so that they can see that there's opportunity for them to fulfill the purpose of their having read the book. The book is there to give shape to our Nam Bhajan. And in Kali Yuga, Kirtan is our Bhajan. According to Srila Prabhupada, Kirtan is our Bhajan. And the best Kirtan is Nam Kirtan, and the best Nam Kirtan is Nama-Sankirtana, when there's a good number of devotees getting together.
Prabhupada saying this book distribution is called Brihat Mridanga. If you are doing Nama-Sankirtan, only we can get benefit. If we distribute my books...
No, that's not correct. That's not correct. The idea is that there has to be a practical demonstration of the life of transcendental knowledge in the books for people to actually see, to come forward and join. Practical demonstration is required. That is the living book, living Bhagavad. The book distribution is Brihat Kirtan in the sense that the word's propagability is enhanced. The word in the scriptures can be distributed and go hand to hand, door to door, country to country, like that, all over the world, to every nook and cranny of the world. So in that sense, it's greater Mridanga. But it doesn't mean that there's a greater importance. This can very easily be understood by this analysis. Srila Prabhupada's instruction is that the most important instruction of the spiritual master for the disciple to follow, the most important instruction and the most important service that the disciple has to offer to the Guru and to the institution at large, to the Sampradaya, is to finish a minimum of 16 rounds of japa, nam japa, every day without fail. That is the actual most important service that any of us has, far surpassing the importance of transcendental book distribution. But who benefits? If we think in a small-minded way, we will think that, well, we're chanting our rounds and only we're really hearing the japa that we're chanting. There's hardly any para upakara audibility. It's not like the Brihat Kirtan, which is going hand to hand, door to door, city to city, country to country. This is a very practical understanding. The importance of Nam Japa surpasses practically all other aspects of devotional service and devotional life. But we don't see that Nam Japa is being heard all over the world. But that doesn't mean that it's less important just because it's not heard all over the world. The understanding should be that Brihad means it's greater in terms of a particular function, but not in terms of a particular sense of importance. So the importance of Nam Japa far surpasses the importance of book distribution, in spite of the fact that the book distribution is called as Brihat Kirtan. In spite of the fact that Kirtan embraces the para upakara principle by doing benefit for others. You understand? But to think that Nam Japa is only for your own benefit is a small-mindedness. The Nam Japa is what is going to give you the power, is what is going to give you the Shakti, the purity, to actually be able to propagate in a real way. So your Nam Japa should be performed with the idea of gaining the fitness to be able to actually do good for others in a viable way. You understand that? So similarly, just as Nam Japa is useful for the individual, it's important for the individual in a way which makes the individual more qualified to do good for others. So similarly, Nama-Sankirtana with Kol and Kartals, even though it doesn't have the same greatness, Brihad aspect that the book distribution has in terms of the word's propagability. Even though it doesn't have that propagability, it doesn't diminish the actual importance in terms of the community value, the in-house value, the strengthening of the devotional community. So if we neglect, it's just like if you neglect to water the root and you're busy branching out with the hopes of getting fruits, but you're not watering the root of the tree, then what is the meaning? If we neglect our japa, then what is the value of all of our preaching, book distribution, and so many programs and all these things if we neglect our japa? Similarly, if you neglect the performance of the Yuga-Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan, book distribution is not the Yuga-Dharma. The Yuga-Dharma is Harinam Sankirtan. And Harinam Sankirtan is the activity which is descending from Golok Dham. They don't distribute books in Golok Dham, please. They do pass messages, from one Sakhi to another to make arrangements for others to meet with Krishna. So, yes, we agree that book distribution is our number one business, but why? Because it promotes the Yuga-Dharma, Nam Sankirtan. But we actually have to be performing Nam Sankirtan to show by practical example, by demonstrating the principle and facilitating the people who get the books coming to the practical realization that is gained by performing the Yuga-Dharma, by doing it. If they don't get the opportunity to perform the Yuga-Dharma sufficiently, then they'll never get a taste for performing the Yuga-Dharma. And there'll be so many other engagements. Prabhupada said that he had to strain his brain to find all kinds of things for us to do. Why? Because we don't have a taste for chanting the holy name. But actually chanting the holy name is our real business. It's our most important business. Whether it's Nam Japa or Nama-Sankirtana. Nama-Sankirtana is like an injection. Nam Japa is kind of like taking tablets in comparison. The loud chanting has a definite, profound impression on our consciousness. Plus the fact that because there's dancing and chanting, it's very enlivening to the heart. It makes us feel happy in Krishna consciousness. Gets us out of the doldrums, so to speak. You see. So it's really so important to regularly perform Nama-Sankirtana. Not just officially marching into the temple and doing for a few minutes and then on with business. Actually get into performing Nama-Sankirtana. I'll never forget, and I harp on it again and again, how Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to us in Washington, D.C., expressing his appreciation, his pleasure about our 14-hour Nama-Sankirtan days. We would go out on book distribution and Nama-Sankirtan side by side, in dhoti, shaved head, etc., on the streets. 14 hours. And Prabhupada wrote our temple president expressing his great satisfaction that we were going out 14 hours a day. We would take turns. We all got a chance to chant in the Kirtan party for approximately 7 hours a day. And the other 7 hours we were distributing books. Later came the whole thing where to get into airports or get into malls in order to sidestep the security, we would put on pant and shirt like that, and wigs or whatever. And then we were no longer with the Kirtan party. It was like a separate thing. And then at a certain point, that became the major push in our movement to double book distribution and double book distribution, etc., but to the exclusion of the performance of Nama-Sankirtan, which was not authorized by Srila Prabhupada. And then, as book distribution wasn't bringing as much money, it turned into paraphernalia distribution. Didn't it?
Yeah.
We say book distribution, but we call every goddamn thing in the world Sankirtan except for Sankirtan. Sankirtan becomes Harinam. But actually Sankirtan means the congregational chanting of the holy name. And Nagar Sankirtan means going out into the Nagar, into the street, dancing and chanting in the street. So, we need to kind of reassess the direction that we're going in and try not to be too sidetracked from the actual focus that we should be having in order to become actually fixed up and strong. So many devotees have come to this movement and so many devotees have gone from the movement. Why? Because they didn't get a taste for chanting the holy name. And one of the main reasons for that is because we were not supporting their endeavor to gain that taste by propagating the Yuga-Dharma, Nama-Sankirtana, in a very real way, if at all. In my personal opinion, our movement actually stands for a revolution of consciousness, a revolution of understanding, a revolution of ideal. It's not that we have to follow this conception that all principles become sacrificed to chase after the almighty buck. To hell with that nonsense. That is not Krishna consciousness. Our principle is very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that in the beginning of creation, he sent forth both men and demigods along with Jugya, blessing them by saying, "Be thou happy by the performance of this Jugya, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things, even for bhukti and mukti." If you're so bhukti kami and mukti kami that you need all this money and everything, to maintain our establishments, to solve our chapati problems and fill our bellies and all these things, you understand? For bhukti and mukti, he says, for comfortable living in this lifetime and liberation at the time of death. That means do your bhukti nam, do your mukti nam, but get out there and do it. Perform the jugya, and gradually, tivrena bhakti yogena, you'll get something more by Krishna's grace. He's not going to let you just get away with bhukti and mukti. That's Lord Chaitanya's loving network, spread all over the world. That's the idea. Loving network means prema dharma. The Yuga-Dharma Nama-Sankirtana, particularly Mahamantra Nama-Sankirtana, that is the prema dharma. It is the dharma which is meant for augmenting prema in the heart. Is there anything more important than getting prema? Is money so much more important? Is having big temples so much more important? Even book distribution is not more important than getting prema. The idea is to please Guru and Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was very pleased with book distribution, no doubt. But he was more pleased with devotees strictly following the regulative principles. Try to understand. That's our Srila Prabhupada. He was more pleased with strictly following the regulative principles than bringing in any amount of money to pay all the court cost abounding about our movement and all these things. Lawyers' fees. Because we're squandering our human form of life by not sufficiently performing the Yuga-Dharma. This human form of life is very, very short. It's the golden opportunity to engage in the Yuga-Dharma, which bestows all benediction. In Kali Yuga, Nama-Sankirtana. Dwapara Yuga, and Treta Yuga, and Satya Yuga, there was different process. But in Kali Yuga, the simple process for getting Krishna Prema, which is far beyond what you could get in Satya Yuga or Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga, is to perform Nama-Sankirtana. So we should ask ourselves, out of our energy that we're expending daily in our lives, how much energy, time, and trouble are we allotting to the performance of the Yuga-Dharma? It's a very, very simple thing. You just look at it and see how much of your human form of life is actually being used to take advantage of the golden opportunity to perform the Yuga-Dharma Nama-Sankirtana, to get that thing which is beyond what the other ages could offer. Just think of it. You see my point? Is it sensible? Yeah. So anyway, keep that under your cap and in your heart. We don't want to make waves, but there should be a revolution of consciousness in our movement. And my request is that anyone and everyone should come forward to join this revolution. This is our grassroots, so to speak, coalition, government, coalition. This candidate, pooling our energies and somehow or other getting the result of expanding the Sankirtan principle and putting it back to its proper place of dignity in the forefront of our movement. It's been sidelined for too long due to miserly consciousness, misconception, and lack of faith in the holy name. That's enough for now.
Nama-Sankirtana ki jai. Aindra Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
I also experience when I am going book distribution, if I am not chanting attentively, if I am not chanting 16 before going book distribution, if I'm not finishing 16 rounds, books will not go so dull. People will get angry. So many times, if I chant nicely, very attentively, after good book distribution, it will be very nice. Then I will think.
So we should see the intersupportive relationship between Nam-Sankirtan and book distribution and japa like that. And ultimately, every anga of devotional service. But in Kali Yuga, no other anga of devotional service, including book distribution, can be very successful without simultaneously performing the Yuga-Dharma, Nama-Sankirtana. No other anga of devotion, whether it's deity worship or cleaning the temple or washing the pots or cleaning the bathrooms or cooking for the deities or collecting big donations to fill the big black hole. At least the big black hole. The black can remind us of Krishna, right? All these things are ultimately meant to help us always remember Krishna and never forget him. But the prime process for always remembering Krishna and never forgetting him, at least that which makes an indelible impression on our heart in a very profound way, is the performance of Nama-Sankirtana. Everything else is kind of like an extension of that. You know, but everything else is supplementary, assisting. You can say Nama-Sankirtan is reciprocally assisting every other aspect of devotional service. It's like the basis. So, if we want to be more successful in any other aspect of devotional service, then we should concertedly focus our energies on the performance of Nama-Sankirtan. That will help us in every way. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Should have constantly association, then only we can get this inspiration.
Well, but you know, we have to take the idea.
Yeah.
Take the idea, put it in your heart, and see how it grows. Don't forget it. Beg your temple authorities to, you know, give more facility for, you know, chanting and dancing. Not just Saturday, every evening. Why not every evening? At least 1 hour. Go out on the streets. You're in a city, right? You're not in a farm. You're in a city, right? You're in a farm?
Yeah.
So then just go to the temple and chant Hare Krishna. Dance and
we are doing
dance
some
and
house
chant.
programs.
Yeah.
Every day will be different houses. There will be program, college program, students program. Every day will be their program.
Yeah.
Evening, morning book distribution, evening will be outside program.
But make the main focus of the program Harinam Sankirtan. Don't spend too long, like I'm doing, talking about it. Actually doing it is more important than talking about it. Okay?